Hey guys, it's BATJAC J.W. Good morning. Hopefully where you're at, it's not terribly cold, but I know in some places it has been extremely cold. And there's some of you that chimed in about that. They're saying, you know, where we're at, it's like really, really cold. It's crazy. Out here, it's kind of strange because so far, really, it hasn't been like really ridiculously cold. It's kind of interesting because coming from Hawaii, where the winters really weren't that bad at all. I mean, you know, come on, Hawaii, you know, what the heck? So during the day, it was fairly warm, and you could still literally go to the beach. And then to out here where it's like, yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, in fact, there's some people walking around with shorts and t-shirt, no problem. It's not really jacket weather, but at night, it can get a little chilly to where you would want a jacket. But other than that, it's the weather out here, not too bad. Not too bad. I guess the summer can get a little warm, but other than that, yeah, it's kind of strange, kind of interesting. I guess for me, you know, matching it with Hawaii, where it's like, yeah, this is like how Hawaii is. You know, it's like it's warm during the day and cold during night during the winter season. So I don't know, we'll see. Then again, well, you know, I always say, I forgot. It's already the new year. This is the first radio show of the year. How about that? That's just like crazy. Okay, so let's get to some shout outs. Got everybody written down here. We got Lion Quest Fitness. Awesome, man. I'm so happy that I've been sending out those cards, and Lion Quest Fitness actually videoed it and showed it. That was awesome. That was so cool. We got EB Saint, Richard, Landeros. Hopefully you got your card with two holes, to put two bullet holes in it. We got the Crazy Scotsman, 3 Wolves, 4570, Edward P., and Peppered 88, the Legendary Jim. I got you a card out. Legendary Jim had PM'd me, personal message. I got a card going out to Legendary Jim. Big Al, MP Gunther 1, and we have Scott F, Andrew K. Andrew, I believe you also got a card, and Scott, I think you got a card. Varen K, you got a card coming. I'm glad I got to help out. Hopefully I helped you out by making a video on my vlog channel on how to PM, and hopefully it took care of that there, Varen. And I'm glad I got your address to get you a card. I've been really working hard on trying to get everybody a card that wants one. The Gunfighter 45 ACP, loads of bacon, right? Is there any other way to have it other than loads of bacon? Eli Faust, always thank you for the updates and everything on the CMP and the 1911s. Hopefully we get those 1911s and we can get our hands on them for a decent price, and it will hopefully take a big effect on the market and the prices on those. We'll talk about you know, trips to the gun shows and stuff and things I've seen and prices and whatnot. Mr. Mark Mac 85, Joe P, always Joe. All right, and Bernard Flood from Ireland, greetings. Okay, so on the channel we did some things brought out for the first real video of the year was a Beretta 92, or M9 is what I got, the M9 configuration. You know, I bought that. The reason I bought the M9 configuration was really because it was cheaper than a 92 FS. I really did. I remember when I was talking to my buddy, his gun shop, I was talking to him on the phone, and I was telling him to order me one, and he was looking for one. And you know, those things I wanted to kind of talk about the Beretta is, ironically, they hold a price tag. They're very expensive if you buy them brand new. Now, it's funny, out here you can go to a pawn shop and stuff and see one and get one fairly cheap. So they do hold their value, and I think, you know, even though the military is did not renew their contract with them, I believe, and they're not actually going to go with the Beretta anymore, I think still it will hold its value because it still was a military a firearm. So it'll always have that romance. People, I think, will always be interested in it. So And then, of course, you know, it's history with movies. You know, you got Die Hard, you got Lethal Weapon, all those things. I think it still is going to hold that importance with it, and the romance and the want for it. So I think it'll be still something that will carry on. It'll still be around. I think people will still want it and like it. So it's kind of interesting. Now, on the other note, for me, the thing that would concern me, the thing, okay, like I talked about the negatives. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. It's the Beretta 92 FS Revisit. Again, I like the gun. I love it. I love it. It shoots great. Right out of the box when I got it, it was like, wow, this thing is pretty darn amazing. It shoots like right on. So, but thinking about it, it has a lot of parts in it. It does. That's, for me, that's the biggest killer on it. It's got so many little parts and springs and detents and little pieces in it that it kind of makes me like, man, you know, I don't, that's the part I don't really like about it. I have a video on, I believe it, I think I titled it Inside the Beretta. Check it out on the channel. You can search for it. That's the other thing. I get a lot of messages about like, hey, you know, you should do a video on this, or you should do more video. Actually, I have. You know, go to the top of the page where it says, like, you know, it'll say like uploads, videos, channels, all that. There's a little magnifying glass icon. Click on that, type in, you know, whatever, you know, cults, or, you know, it'll bring up numerous videos that I've done and covering over a lot of stuff. So anyhow, going through some stuff on that 1911s and everything like that, you guys know, so I've been posting a lot of videos on the 1911, the inland especially, that I did. So speaking of that, recently I actually just repainted the slide on my inland, because originally when I did it, I didn't want to go too heavy on the paint. I went really lightly, just kind of misting it over, because I wasn't sure how the color was going to turn out. I really wasn't. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, or if it wasn't going to look good or whatever. So I redid the paint a little heavier. So, and of course the paint that I got and found is just perfect. It's just spot on. I actually almost want to go down and get some more just in case they run out of it, or it just disappears or something like that. So I want to get that done. I want to make sure that I don't run out of it. But it's been interesting, you know, the thought about that when I painted it, or decided to spray paint it. I gave it a lot of thought. At first I was like thinking, you know, I could take it down to this place, and the guy I know down there, he's a good buddy of mine, and, you know, support him and get it Cerakoted. But, you know, the more I thought about it, wasn't the not wanting to support him, or not wanting to, you know, I just thought about it. And I thought, you know, I didn't want to put more money into this thing because of cosmetics for something that I initially bought it for. And I must say that that's kind of a letdown also, that I got a message saying that it sounds like Auto Ordnance also has discontinued the gray kind of greenish parkerizing. That sucks, because that's like, you're taking what should be the correct, you know, if you're going to go for a reproduction of 1911 World War II, that's generally what it looks like. Now, not all of them, but I mean, the vast majority of them look like that. I guess the other negative would be, for a lot of people, would be that, yes, if you notice right there, it's a little hole indicating it's a Series 80 system. You can get around that. I have a video about the product. You can go to Brownells and get this shim that you can actually put in the frame of the 1911, take out those little levers that are in there that bump into one another to tilt up to hit that firing pin stop. You can get these little shims, put them in there and override that, and then remove the little button in the slide altogether, and get rid of the Series 80 little system there. So, and it's a fairly inexpensive little piece that you can buy from Brownells. I used to have two of them at one time. I think the when I sold my Auto Ordnance that I had, I sold it to my friend, and I think I left it in there because I had changed that one over to a Series 8. I may do that to this inland. I don't know. just for the sake of eliminating the extra pieces out of it. That's my only thing about the Series 80 1911s. The trigger pull doesn't bother me. It's just if you go to disassemble it, for me, I don't like dealing with all the parts. So that's about it for me on that. That's what irks me, I guess. And again, that kind of refers back to the Beretta 92, with it having all these parts, and you almost need like special tools to put certain parts back together, like the I believe it's like the old sear spring, I think, inside the back part of the frame on the grip. Anyway, if you've ever taken one apart or looked at the videos on taking it apart, it can be quite a task. So let's talk about some gun shows and prices and things like that. And that's what I hope that the CMP will do by releasing these World War II 1911s or GI 1911s, is I hope it will drive the prices down. Because I've gone to numerous gun shows out here. I actually stopped going. I don't go anymore. Because a lot of times, I mean, I'm not trying to speak bad about it, because they're still fun to go to, but it seemed to me like it was the same people, the same tables, the same guns, and a lot of times they're overpriced, for me. And, yes, you could probably go and haggle with them and bring a fistful of cash and get away. Now, I've gotten some pretty good stuff at gun shows. In fact, I'm about ready to show you one of the my ultimate favorite score at a gun show that I bought. I bought a Winchester Defender shotgun at a gun show. That's a really cool shotgun because it's a real throwback to the old school. It's a 18.5 inch barrel. Magazine tube goes flush right up to the barrel. Classic wood corncob grip with the wood stock and everything. I love that look. It's such a classic. I scored that at a gun show, and I really, I'm happy with that shotgun. I like it. I scored it. I talked the guy down. I gave him a fistful of cash, basically. I said, look, I got $300, and he took it. So that, it works. It does work. So, but my ultimate favorite thing that I scored at a gun show has got to be the Rizzuto Switchblade. This thing is so cool. I've always wanted one. This is the classic swing guard switchblade you would see in the 60s and stuff. Now, this is indeed, I believe, vintage 1960s or slightly before. Rizzuto Istelletto, I'm probably butchering this, by the way, I'm sorry. Milano, or and it's got that cool little latch lanyard thing on the bottom, and I believe it's for holding extra safety on the blade there. But it's got all these cool features. It's a swing guard, and yeah, a little 3D effect for you. It's absolutely neat. This is one of the coolest switchblades. I don't mess around with it too much because it is old, it is vintage. You don't want to be snapping it all the time, but it's just neat to have it. One of those things that one of the ones that stand out the most to me. And here's the other thing before I get into that. What makes these things so collectible? They weren't exactly well made, and a lot of times they got worn out and they broke, and so that's kind of why they're collectible. And that's kind of a thing, it just when it's collectible, it could mean of various things. It could mean it was maybe a model that they came out with that wasn't very good, it broke a lot, or it had flaws, so they discontinued making them and they revamped it and went back another thing and fixed it. But those ones that were initially out there could be collectible because they weren't made very well. So that's kind of an odd way to look at it sometimes. And it definitely is something with the Rizzutos. They're definitely not quite made as well. But although I must say that, this one, it does feel pretty well made. It does feel pretty strong. So it's pretty neat. But again, what I was going to talk about is it stands out. If you ever see most of you, I'm sure, have seen it, Beverly Hills Cop 2, where the character played by Judd Reinhold, his character Billy Rosewood actually kind of turns more into like a one of those, I guess you could say, I don't know, I hate to use the term, but he's kind of a nut in it. But, you know, there's a scene where they break into the gun club in Beverly Hills, and Eddie Murphy's trying to pry the drawer open with a little pocket knife, and he snaps the blade off, and he's like, oh, and he looks at it, and then Judd Reinhold grabs the switchblade and goes, here you are. And he's like, what is that? He's like, what? It's mine. It's for home protection or something. He's like, Billy, we gotta talk. So it's that I just love that scene. I love that switchblade. The swing guards always catch my eye. I love swing guard switchblades. They're my favorite type. I wish they would reintroduce some of them that were on the inexpensive side, and you know, just throw them out there for like $20 or something like that. I buy them all day long. They're great. They're just great fun stuff. So anyway, brand new year, 2018, man. We're kicking it off. Channel's going good. We're going to still be making videos. I got a lot of cool stuff on it. If you guys have not, or if you don't feel like it, that's fine. It's perfectly cool. But those of you that are following me on Patreon, I am on Patreon. And you can see I actually did do a video on painting this, and that's actually on Patreon. So that's over there. And then, of course, being on Patreon too, you get to see some of the videos that are going to be out for this channel, variously time frames on various time frames. A lot of it's going to be early, so you'll get to see it first on the Patreon. So if you decide that you would like to support BATJAC J.W. on Patreon, it'd be muchly appreciated, and you get some extra content. But if not, don't worry. It's cool. I just appreciate you being here on the main channel and being subscribed and commenting and watching the content and your feedback and everything. So it's awesome. And then so also don't forget, if you are interested in one of those cards, PM me an address where you'd like it shipped to, and I will try to get it out to you. There, I still got a few of them left. And again, it's not going to be something that it's like I only have so many and that's it. Once they're gone, they're gone. I'll continue to make more and continue to dish them out here on the radio show. And of course, if I find any other little things that I can do to do some giveaways right here, I will do so. And they'll always be right here on the radio show, and it's a thank you guys for watching the radio show. So I'm BATJAC J.W. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. It's Saturday morning. Go out, have a safe weekend, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and thanks for hanging out with me.